Okay, we're in the live stream now. Today is Friday, July the 25th, 2025. And I don't know if I'm actually live or not, or am I recorded, or is this on tape delay, or is this in the background? I'm not sure. I'll know in a minute here. Yep, Mr. Derp is in here. Okay. So I was going to go here at 10 o'clock. I thought I'd knock this out early. Today is July 25th, 2025. And it is Friday, and it is a random rant. I've decided that random rant is 3 or more subjects that are going to be discussed in one of my rants, so thus the term random. I want to start out by talking about the nature of the male on male cruelty. And I just came to this conclusion that, somebody left some nasty comments to me, and I finally just deleted them. I have to be honest with you. If the negative comments get to be extreme, I just delete them, and then the next step is to delete you personally that are leaving the comments. So I try to keep it down to just delete the comments first before I delete the person. And see, I don't think that women, men always make excuses. They say, "Oh, you think men are bad to each other? You should see the way women treat each other." And it's such like nonsense. It's like slapping, and it's like what's that girly movie called Mean Girls? That's the kind of bad stuff that girls do to each other, which is so innocuous compared to what men do. Men are just horribly cruel to each other, and it's I always use the term scrot on scrot violence, because it really is amazing how dudes hate other dudes. I mean, the competition to inflict pain on another dude is just, it's incredibly insanity. And when we see women on women, making fun of other women, it even looks more insane. But I guess people are just so accustomed to men bashing other men. Like I was in the trades back in the 80s or the 90s, and I can tell you the horrible people I used to deal with all the time. And of course, it's dudes. It's not women. It's not women ordering you around. It's not women physically and mentally abusing you. It's always dudes. It's another dude, another dude, another dude. And that's just how it is. And a lot of these dudes were these guys that went home to loving families. Like I've never understood the psychology of the heterosexual male. He'll abuse another man and then go home to his loving wife and kids. And like, this is what the Nazis did. This is what Italian mobsters did. This is what a lot of psychopathic people do. They have no problem abusing other people, but they go home to their loving family. I mean, and here's something else. And I heard another YouTuber talk about this one time. He said the women that are married to these guys that are abusers, they have no problem being married to an abuser as long as he brings home the bacon. Like it's like if a woman could see what her shithead husband is treating another dude on the job, whether it's in a blue collar field, or whether it's in a management position, or whether it's in the white collar Wall Street world, a lot of these women will gravitate toward these men, not because they like dominators, because he provides, he brings home the bacon. And there's a YouTuber that talked about this. I don't want to mention his name, because not that I want to give him credit for it, but I just kind of want to keep it on a straight and narrow here. But this was many years ago, and I was listening to his podcast. I still have one of those 2 gigabyte iPads or iPods. And I remember him saying this. He says that women will ally themselves with these guys who are real scumbag pieces of shit. And it's like, well, my husband provides, he's a good dad, and of course I get the luxury to be a stay-at-home mom, but the guy's a real asshole. And I worked with a guy like this. In fact, I worked with 2 people like this at the same time. It was insanity. And these people, they're the most disgusting people, both the people doing the abusing and the wives married to these guys, because they at some level have to know that what these guys are doing. They can't be oblivious to say, "Oh, my husband Joe, like, I'm sure they're at some level aware of this." But again, it gets back into this whole ideal. I mean, think about all the women who came to this country in the 1800s and their husbands murdered Indians. You know, as long as he's bringing home the bacon and providing for the children, he's a good man. And it doesn't matter if that man executed a family of both men and women and children. As long as he brings home the bacon, as long as that man, that's how the Nazis thought. It's a very sociopathic type of thinking where you love your family. And oh, you know who talked about that? And I laughed at it because he was exploring my same sentiments years ago. Was Mark Passio. He says, I'm sick of these people that say, I love my family. I love my family. I love my family. And they go out and abuse other people and do nasty shit to people. And it's something you need to think about because, guys, I'll tell you something. What bothers me is when you're a dude and you troll another guy's channel and you harass him, you are defining exactly what I'm talking about. Like I had a comment made about the whole, oh, I can tell you were bullied as a child. And somebody makes a comment about it. It inevitably, it was a dude that did this. I don't think any woman would do this. The cruelest woman would never come on a YouTube channel and use that invective, I can tell you were bullied as a child, to especially as I'm mocking it. Only a dude would do that. Now, I understand what I talked about when I mentioned George Sedini, how that old lady tried to harass him, so according to his diary online. And yes, there are horrible people like that. But, you know, before you have to be self-aware. This is another thing I would strongly recommend. Even you guys that are in wheelchairs, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are on SSI, and you've got all kinds of issues, and you're doing the Todd Thundercock thing. You're living on neat bucks and all that other shit. You got to be self-aware of who you are as a person. You've got to be self-aware. When you do something nasty, ask yourself, why am I doing this? What is the purpose of me doing this? I mean, ask the question. When you troll another dude's, I'm assuming it's a guy, when you troll another man's channel, ask yourself, what is the outcome I have to get? And what is this going to do for me? And if I were to answer to God tomorrow, and this is a big one because a lot of you guys don't think about this. If I died tomorrow and I have to answer for my sins, do I want to be caught in the act of doing one of these very things to people? You know, I really believe in that old thing that you should have others do unto others as you have others do unto you. Because it really seems that if people understood that concept very well, they would not do what they're doing. Okay? And I try to respect everybody. I see a black guy doing a menial labor job, and I respect that guy because he's working and he's doing the best he can. And you don't have any right to judge anybody for anything. It's like I told people I delivered pizzas. They immediately attacked me. Of course, it was dudes who attacked me. It was never women who attacked me. It was dudes who attacked me. Because that's what dudes do. Dudes only kill other dudes. Okay? If you were to take the 4 types of violence, man on man, man on woman, woman on woman, woman on man, I'd say man on man dwarfs at 10-1. I mean, think about this. A bunch of dudes just wanting to see other dudes suffer. I hope you fail. Yeah. That's really bad. Yeah. America, what is this guy saying? Let me put this up here. It says America is a country built on savagery and business. Of course it is. It's a country built on savagery and absolutely. This country is not what it never was a good country. It was built on savagery, slavery. You know, if you ever want to see anyone tear that apart in the 20-something years, if you ever watched the 8 or 10 HBO specials that George Carlin did, he rips on America all the time. He said it was discovered by a bunch of white men who wanted freedom. So the way to have freedom is to have slavery. And so we go out there and subject the brown people so that we can have more slaves. And then we can claim that we're free and everyone has equal rights. I mean, he was absolutely, you could never get away with that today. I think you could, but. Um, yeah, media guy says he says I want to pitch a movie idea. 3 TFL guys make a deal with the devil, find a girlfriend in 48 hours or die. Yeah, and those three of those guys would be bragging how much they get laid, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I talked to I held by the dashboard light, and I actually brought that up one time. So I wanted to get off this thing that before you abuse another dude, think about why it is that you're doing it. Okay, when you're leaving nasty comments on my channel and you're making fun of the fact that I delivered pizzas several years ago, I want to know why you're doing it. What is the reason? Because the guy making fun of the guy delivering pizzas is probably some double amputee who's pissed off at the world. He's sitting in a government subsidized home where he doesn't have to go out in public and show his face, and he wants to make fun of somebody else who's got a job doing something, or he's some horribly disfigured or autistic guy. And I don't like to disparage that either. That's not fair that anybody has that horrible thing. Yeah, it's oh, the original pilgrims were exiled from Protestant England for being antisocial religious extremists. Yeah, probably. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Yeah, my arm is sore today, but I want to segue into another thing. I was doing some physical work today, installing a compressor, and that's damn things as small as they are, they're so freaking heavy. I feel like oh, I'm not feeling good today. I guess I'll be fine. I feel like somebody punched me in the shoulder right now. My right shoulder is giving me, ooh, is it sore? Anyways, it'll be all right, I guess. This type of work that I do, guys, is very, very demanding. It's very demanding physical work. It's mental work too, but it's physical. And you know what the thing is? I just thought about something today. I was carrying up this compressor, and this guy was helping me, and he was having a hard time with it. He didn't admit he was, but he couldn't get a grip on it. And these things are like real small and compact, but it's like a solid chunk of steel. I mean, there's no way to make these things light. I've always asked, why can't they make these things weigh 1/3 the weight? But these scroll compressors they weigh a ton. I mean, like a small one. I'm talking one that comes up to your knee. They weigh about 80, 90 pounds. They're fucking heavy. Pardon my language, but they're heavy. So my arm is sore of lifting it, and it's sore. He was helping me, and then he let go of it, and damn, it's like, oh, it feels like I just got punched. Yeah, it's so. Yeah, I do hard work. And you know what? I pride myself in hard work. And I'll tell you, you guys, yeah, I'll never go full-time YouTube because, first of all, I'd get trolled even more. I mean, these guys that do YouTube full-time, you have to have uh, a tremendous amount of subscribers to justify the trolling that you're going to get for being unemployed and making a living on YouTube. Because in the TFL community, the manosphere, if you try to make a living doing this, you certainly are going to get righted. I mean, I think TFL men, incel men, are the most self-deprecating, loathing people you could ever meet. And I don't mean to say that as if everyone who's living TFL is living that, but the ones that come into this type of sphere, they're not nice people. And that is something that, unfortunately, like I said, this is male on male. Men love hurting other men. This is just the way it is. Men just love hurting other men. They like to see other men suffer. And when you get out into these spheres, you see how these people just turn on each other, and there's been more anguish and disgust here. So, anyways, I got off the thing with the cruelty of scrode on scrode cruelty, which is, if you were to take the top 4 cruelties, male on male, male on female, female on female, female on male dwarfs it like 8-1. Males just love hurting other males. Okay. Yeah, I'm still a runner. A little sore today. I went to the gym today. I did go to the gym today. My arm is sore from working today, but I'll give it a couple days and see where it goes. Feel like my right shoulder feels like I just did like as if I went to the gym and I just did on the walking on the treadmill today, but it feels like somebody like I lifted like way more weight than I should have. It's just really, of course, as you get older, things get to be painful. No, I didn't. Somebody mentioned about Hulk Hogan dying yesterday or the day before. I'm not really. Hulk Hogan was a great entertainer, and he was a great marketer. He marketed himself very well, and he made a lot of money. But he got his reward on Earth. So I don't know. I don't know if this is the real first or not. I have no clue. But I don't need a moderator for this right now. It looks like I don't know what if this is. Oh boy, I don't know. So he says America attracts the most greedy, sociopathic people. What kind of person leaves their home, country, and family behind? That's an amazing concept, the Joker. The fact that people would leave America, leave their families behind and just take off. It is a weird, like I never to this day understood the concept of European immigration, like post, I'm going to say post westward expansion, like when people came here in the 1880s, 90s, what made people do that? Like what was the zeitgeist that made people get on these ships? And why did America allow all these immigrants to come in? Like there must have been some serious desperation for labor. Like it might have been like, I'm thinking the reason why America allowed all these immigrants to come in at that, like from Eastern Europe and from all them places, even like Italy and stuff. I think what happened was they realized that the powers that be realized that if we don't make a move quick, we're going to get swallowed. And I think that that's exactly what they did. It was a I don't know. So anyways, I was thinking about that today. I was also thinking about the future of TFL, True Forced Loneliness. I have a foreboding feeling that most men who do not mate in this lifetime or procreate will just die. I don't think that there's going to be like the insurrection or maybe an awareness of it. It's no different than if you looked at people in wheelchairs and people with disabilities. They're irrelevant to society. Society sounds like I'm quoting First, but First was always saying that society is made for couples. I'd expand it further. Society is made for people who have both arms and legs, people who can walk, people who can get a husband and a wife, and people who can procreate. And those are the people you see physically out in public all the time. Those are the people when you go to the local rib burn off or the Oktoberfest or the Serbian American Croatian festival. Those are the people who physically show their faces out in public. And society is made for able-bodied people. So what most TFL incel guys fall into the category of is being handicapped. And society is never going to stop, take a break for people with a disability. And that's the only conclusion I can draw from it, because everybody, anytime there is a move to raise taxes for the school system, those damn bills always pass. And the only thing I can conclude is it isn't that the majority of people are married and have kids that pass these bills. It's just that those that have kids and have the money will get that bill passed hell or high water. I mean, think about this for a second. If you live in a community and you want to see the teachers are demanding the tax hike on the properties so they can get their $10,000 a year pay raise. If the parents are demanding it, even if they represent only 20% of that community, they will get their way. Hell or high water, they're going to get their way. It happens all the time. I see it. People tell me about it in their local communities. Anyways, yeah, I don't know how long I'm going to be on here today, but just a little sore today from work. Worked out in the heat yesterday was really dangerous. Same job. I had a, it was scorching hot on that roof. And so like I do think that the TFL thing, the true forced loneliness, and I don't like to use the inkwell term, but just going to use TFL for now. I do think that most of those men will just die out. I mean, it is first to say Steve taxes. What's next? The national deficit. Browns need to go. Yeah, well, the Browns suck. The Browns are trying to push a tax hike so they can get a dome stadium in the city of Brook Park, Ohio. It's disgusting. Browns stink. I'm not even paying attention to them like that. I'm not even listening to the local Cleveland.com reporters. I just haven't been doing it this year. It's weird. Like, this is the first year in the last 7-8 years that I've not even paid attention to the Browns, and not even close. They doubled down on stupid. They paid that Deshaun Watson $230 million guaranteed to be a shitty, no good for shit quarterback. And then they double down again and give this guy Myles Garrett some extra money for this shit. So this stuff is so stupid, you can't make it up how stupid it is. Somebody says here, they say, for handicapped people, there is the American with Disabilities Act. That does not seem indicative of a demographic of people that is irrelevant to society. No, they are irrelevant. They are. It's just that the Americans with Disabilities Act does protect you for sure, but discrimination for disabled people still exists. Amputee discrimination is clearly there. If you had a burn victim and you had half your face burned or scarred, or you had a cleft lip, you're probably not going to get a job as a waiter. You might. I mean, I guess you could. I guess so. Yeah, guys. One good thing about like skilled labor that's in the trades is that you do have security. AI won't replace it anytime soon. I don't see it happening. I don't know how they're going to do it. The kind of job I'm doing, I can't even imagine how's a computer going to do that. I don't see how. And women certainly aren't going to do it. Women certainly aren't going to be doing our job. Yeah. Hey, first, I don't know if this is the real first. I don't know how to verify it's you because your channel is no longer. So I'll just have to, it could be a troll. But anyways, like I said, I don't know how long I'm going to be. I got 38 here. You got to just live life. And so I haven't heard much. I haven't heard Hell by the Dashboard Light. He comes and goes. He disappears. He's here today, gone tomorrow. And I don't know where he's at. Yeah. Yeah, there's just way too many men in America. And that's Sarah, if it wasn't for that Sherry Cooper, who back in 2001 had said that by 2010 there would be twice as many women, I probably would have never put the pieces together about like how these demographics work. But Mercer's been talking about it for the last 4 years. It's nothing new in Mercer's eyes of what's going on. Of course, me and first talked about it in 2018 or 2019, or no, 2019 when he first came on here. He was the one who concurred. There's just too many dudes. 5 men, 1 woman. Yeah, I do. I think it's that bad. I think for every man, there's 5 men, there's one woman. I do. Now it's a little convoluted because you can't quite put it as single. The weird thing about that theory I have is that it really comes out to 5 men and one woman when you look at the fact that men are very flexible. Almost all men are in play, where almost all women are not in play. And it could be for several reasons. The single woman could be in a lesbian relationship. She could be in dating limbo. She could be dumped by her third husband and finally just given up and just completely done with men. I mean, that's one of them. And then, of course, you got the H-1B1 visas. You got the immigrants coming in. You still got boomers that are double, triple, quadruple dipping into the older crowd, but not much older. You know, so you have all these weird anomalies that create the 5-to-1 ratio, which I believe is. I do believe it is that bad. And another thing, I didn't really think about this. I was driving to work today like I do every day. And do you notice that there's no babies and kids in cars? Now, this really got me thinking. When I was a kid and we were in cars, whether it's on the highway or on the road, there were always kids in cars all the time. And you would not believe how few kids I see riding in cars anymore. And then I got something else creepy to tell you. Not creepy, but sad. And I feel sorry for the sucker that got wrapped up in this business opportunity, because the other day, and this is, I'll tell you about it before that happened, but the other day, I hear the sound of the ice cream truck on my road. And I look out the window, and this guy, he went past my house. Then I could hear it coming back. And I said, holy cow. And this guy was cruising faster than a normal. He was kind of in a hurry to say, like, I'm not going to waste a lot of time driving super slow because it's probably not going to work. But not one person stopped to get ice cream. And I feel bad because, first of all, ice cream trucks, you can't really make any money doing that anymore because there's not enough kids to justify driving that vehicle around the place. You'd have to, first of all, have parents that say, oh, here, Brandon, here's $10. Grab yourself an ice cream cone or something, or $20. But like, there's not the kind of kids that there used to be. And you can't justify driving an ice cream truck in multiple streets when there's no kids to buy the ice cream, but maybe one kid. So the sad thing is that this poor guy who's driving this ice cream truck probably needs to make some money. But you can't pay the bills with an ice cream truck that uses gas that costs $4 a gallon. He has to charge more for the ice cream than the store for the convenience of doing it. And so it's sad. And then the week before that, there was the same type of van on my street, but this one had mag tires, like silver mag tires. It was a van, ice cream van. But this one was moving relatively, really slow. And I was getting in my car and I says, I'll just tailgate this, follow this truck. And I turn, I see it's a Puerto Rican woman. And she's just driving real slow, looking for kids. Not one kid came out to buy ice cream. And I'm just like, there's just no way this can happen. Ice cream, you can't make money with ice cream trucks. Plus, most people trusted that their kids could just go out and play and say, okay, here's the money, go get the ice cream, do what you got to do. What parent is going to let their kid, what parent who can afford to have kids is going to let their kid talk to a stranger in an ice cream truck? And that's like, if you don't see what's really happening, just because you go to the amusement park and you see, oh, there's a guy and a girl, 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 guy holding hands with a girl, oh, that proves everybody's making babies. They're not. That's an anomaly when you see people with baby carriages. The vast majority of people are not procreating. The vast majority of men and women are not procreating, and especially men aren't procreating. I mean, they simply don't have an option in that department. So all you have to do, and this is several things you can do, and the gym is not a good litmus test because there are a lot of women at the gym now. but they're really young girls, and they're attractive and not in play. I'm going to say it again, not in play, not in play. Even there are no plethora. If you're 50 like me or 50 plus, there's no plethora of 40-something-year-old women. There's no plethora of 50, 60-year-old women. There's very few. And those women are not in play. I'll say it again, not in play, not in play. If you do see them at the gym. When you drive your car and you look in people's cars, you almost never see kids. You almost never see kids in cars. Isn't that weird? Kids, 4 kids looking out the back window. I'm telling you, this is something crazy. NIP, not in play. That's a good one. It says, you people still see ice cream trucks? Ha ha. Last time I saw an ice cream truck was like a decade ago. Yeah, I see them. But who's sold that sucker on the idea of, who sold them on that? I feel terrible that somebody would be sold into a business like that. First says, that's dangerous. The high fructose corn syrup in Alex's brain will push out the 90s grunge rock references. Oh, God. At 47 in the chat. Oh, Ice Wallacom says, I see ice cream trucks all the time. That guy either lives in the woods or never leaves the basement. Well, he's not driving an ice cream truck if he's doing that. The point is like, it makes sense why they probably wouldn't do it, because like kids aren't free to just chase the ice cream truck anymore. What did First perfectly explain? You said, I was listening to the Thomas White Scream with First and Pat from a couple years back. I don't know. I didn't listen to that one. Not going to be here long. Anyways. Yeah. Big Lebowski says, Steve's right on this one. I had a friend who had the cops called on him because his 2 kids were playing at the park, grass unsupervised. He was watching them from the car. Thanks, Karen. Yeah. No, probably not going to go to that chat. Yeah, Alan Williams wants to know if I'm going to go into this certain chat room, and I said no. See, there isn't like this plethora of older women. So if you're 35, you say, well, I'll just date 35-year-olds. There's no such thing as like a plethora of women in your age group. And this is funny because this guy mentioned all these. There was a guy that was talking about financial strategies, and he mentioned 10 of them. And one of them was why you should not, go into one of these 55 and over communities. And in passing, he just said, he goes, the problem with this and that about the 55-year-old, they have too many rules. And he goes, and they're overpopulated mostly by older men looking for younger or for older women. And he was saying that there's even the over 55 communities are sausage fests. So there is no hope for this. This problem will not, like I'm quoting Mitchell, said this 12, 13 years ago. He said, "This Steve, this problem will not be ending in our life. Will not end in our lifetime. We will not see an end to TFL incel in our lifetime in America or the West." What I think, I had some theories on what could be done. One of them would be, obviously, to avoid war. I mean, obviously, you'd have to take these men and put them in the forest, like the Katyn forest, and blow their heads off. That's the easy way to do it, but I don't think many men would sign up for that. This is obviously a troll. Steve, do you only care about white folks? How about us black folks? I care for all people. I don't know. I don't know what this question's even asking, really. Well, this is Alan Williams says the guy banging all his female coworkers is a male fantasy. Thomas White seems to tell everybody that he's done it. He's never had a job where he didn't bang women in his workplace. This is crazy. Thomas, this was bullshit, and you know it's bullshit. You go on camera and talk about how unattractive women feel you are, how you're with a roasty, then you're not with a roasty, and then you're like bouncing all over, and then you say, you've never had a hard time meeting women at work to bang, and now, I mean, what's the story, dude? I don't think he's even in the chat today, but like, what's his story? Does anybody know what Thomas White's real story is? He said he's never lived alone. He's never been alone. So he's 40 years old. He's always had roommates. Like, does he not want privacy? Nothing makes sense with Thomas White at all. And this is the thing. I will ask him the tough questions. He just simply doesn't want to answer them. Just like a girl writes would never interview with anybody that might ask her the tough questions. And a lot of guys, a lot of people don't want to answer those tough questions. Well, he says he was. I don't know. I don't believe women on social media are having sex either. He says they post pictures, get thousands of likes, follow 100 of men, but their social media profiles feel alone. I think so too. I don't think that these women are really sexual, and I think it's kind of weird. It seems like an anomaly, or a contradiction. Like you see, like obviously the porn industry. These women are having sex on camera, but they're really not in relationships. Yeah. Yeah. Society is designed for married people, for heterosexual married people with kids. Going to the Lebanese festival, going to the Cracker Jack festival, going to the beer, the Oktoberfest festival. These are all designed for people in relationships. Single dudes not welcome. They don't go to those things. You're a fool if you go by yourself too. Oh, I wanted to talk about that guy that I guess was recently convicted, the Idaho killer. I forget what his name was, something Berger. Um, does anybody know what that guy's name was? I have a theory on how he got caught. I don't know if it was brought up in the trial, but of course, they got their forensic science and all that other shit that I don't really put much faith in. But first of all, he's a dumbass. If he got caught the way I think he got caught, he's definitely a dumbass. It wasn't DNA that caught him. This is what I think how he got caught. your cell phones always ping off of towers within the vicinity. So if he was in the vicinity of any tower that they were using near where the victims were killed, all they have to do is go through the numbers at that time, and they can narrow it down to 100 and then 50 and then 20. The guy was as dumb. If he was as dumb as I think he is, and he of course has a PhD, or he's another of these guys with a high IQ that proves that he doesn't have that high of a IQ. I mean, first of all, if you do manage to go 3, 4, or 5 weeks, a month, 2 months, and get away with something like that, you get the hell out of the country and you go to a place where they don't have extradition laws like the Soviet Union. Find a place where there is no. I mean, these people, they really believe they'd just be better off turning themselves in and saving face. It's more embarrassing when they get caught because they prove how stupid they are. They just prove how stupid they are. I don't have much more to say, but think about this though. He could have gotten away with this if he. I'm not saying I don't advocate what he did, but I'm saying if he was if I was going to write a novel on this, how he got, I would make my character a little bit smarter than this guy. I would. Christopher, I could let you in, but there's one catch to this, okay, Christopher? There's one catch to this. Hold on. All right, I'll put this here, but I'm probably not going to let anybody in here. I'm going to be upset if somebody does come in here. Here's the thing, Christopher. If you do decide to come in, I need to see your face. And you're not going to be on the camera with your face. I'm going to see you in the background. If you're just some Aspergian troll, I don't want you on here. Yep. Well, there was a movie. Speaking of this question was put there by Nor Nasrak. He says, "What about single people eating alone in restaurants?" Do you remember that movie, The Lonely Guy, with Steve Martin? He was eating alone, and they made a drama, and they started singing a song about how I'm sitting alone in the restaurant eating. It was something so bad. It was like even back in 1983 when they made that movie. Was that 83, 84, somewhere around that time, early 80s? That was when Steve Martin was like at the top of his career. And yeah, that was funny. And they were just like making fun of like the single people eating alone in a restaurant. And yeah, Lonely Guy, 1984, great film. Yeah. But yeah, Steve Martin was also in that movie, All of Me, from the same year with Lily Tomlin. Oh man, I always thought Lily Tomlin was Jewish because she has that dark hair and she was a feminist. And then I looked her up and it says she came from a Baptist family in Kentucky, so she is not Jewish at all. She is 100% Gentile. It's hard to believe. Yeah, I always thought she was. And if you've seen her in 9 to 5, oh God, I thought for sure. I said Lily Tomlin is feminist, probably, but no, she's not. Shockingly, she's a Gentile. The Man with Two Brains, yeah. Yeah, he was always good in that. Planes, Trains, Automobiles. He's a talented guy. Father of the Bride was a good movie too. I didn't like My Blue Heaven. I didn't think that was funny. And he was really talented. Yeah. So I did put my link out there, but I probably won't put anybody in here. Oh. Yeah, he does keep himself in good shape. He plays banjo well too. He's a good musician. He's funny. Yeah, he's a good guy. I don't think Lily Tomlin is, but you're right. She could be ethnically Jewish, but I don't think she is. I really, really don't, because Jewish people only go two routes. They either go atheist or or Judaism. They don't go. Ashkenazi Jews do not generally come from Christian families. They either practice Judaism or they're atheist. There's a two, and I don't think, and then because I looked her up and she said she was Baptist, I don't think she is Jewish. I don't think she is. Although her politics might be. She's more like on the feminist side, but then I don't know. But that move, like I said, I always thought she was, just her style, just kind of the way she gravitated toward the hardcore kind of equality type of stuff. Like that movie 9 to 5 was a kind of defined her politics. Well, okay, Twisted Reality is asking this question. He says, I don't see how excess men theory makes any sense. It must be dating limbo and older men. Yeah, well, I do think excess men is a theory that it's justifiably a theory, because for the most part, what you have is excess men being born. At least in the past, you did. Now, not as much now, but you have double, triple dipping into the dating pool with a big generation like boomers dip into a small generation of Gen Xers, and you have a recipe for disaster. These wars going on in Russia. Did you guys hear the latest that Russia is now going to import excess men from India to do all their labor, because they're sending all their Russian men to fight against the Ukraine? Can you imagine what Russia is doing to itself? They call Putin a wise leader. If he is doing what I think he's doing, and he's getting rid of his excess men or men in general in favor of bringing over these Pajeets, are never leaving Russia. If they get a better life in the Soviet Union or the former Soviet Union, which is Russia now, they are not going to leave. They will not leave. This guy, Skidmark Zuckerberg Goldstein, says boomers get more ass than Tommy White. Okay, this guy says something I agree with. A baby boomer who's rich can dip into young Gen Z girls. Al Pacino, Mick Jagger, Richard Gere, I imagine, are examples of that. Yeah, I guess they are. And they're not so uncommon. You don't have to be as rich as them and famous to do it too. It's a real bad situation right now. It won't be addressed. I don't think that men will ever address it. and because they'll shame men, and it's like I did that mockery the other day where the guy, I was going, shit, I get laid all the time, shit, I get the pussy all the time, and these guys that say this, there's no shortage of them, you know. About to leave here shortly. I'm not going to be here long. So you have to come in. If somebody comes into this chat, that's going to be a problem too. They'll keep me up longer. I had considered the eunuch society might be a way out of this. Like if the government, let's say that the excess men formed a political party, they very much could demand money from the government. They could demand, they could do it. But I don't think men will ever do that because men are just terrified. Harden 9 is the guy that I interviewed. He said, I just looked at a photo of Lily Tomlin. She looks Jewish, Ashkenazi. She does. My mom said she was. My mom said, no, she's Jewish. But if you look her up on Wikipedia, it says she comes from a Baptist family, but she does look Ashkenazi. She looks like she's from the shtetls of Eastern Europe for sure. There's no doubt. Harden, she looks like she's related to you. Harden, since you did a video with me, all I can say is this. There needs to be a political movement started with guys that can't get women, because it would be a very big percentage of the population. It could have an effect. It wouldn't be just married people with kids, married heterosexual people with kids. It could gravitate toward another realm, or liberal women or whatever. I think it's a bigger. I think they would make them. They could control. They could have a. I think they could start a third party. I really do. I think there's enough single men, unattached men in America to have their own party. They could overthrow. They could twist the arm of both the Democrats and the Republicans. About to get out of here though. Collective ours are resources by property. Yeah, there would be forces that would stop it. I do. I think that these forces would kick in. I disagree that no single men would want to be at an all dude party. I think they would. When you get a bunch of dudes together, that it's a lot of fun, man. You can have a lot of freaking fun with a bunch of dudes. Yeah. We're about to get out of here, guys. I'm getting real tired. I think I'm going to hit the hay. Not long ago, Chad. I'll tell you about another time. Like I was saying, Harden, there's two areas that Jewish people of the Ashkenazi persuasion gravitate toward. It's either atheism or Judaism. There is nothing this, well, I was raised, Catholic. Unless you're half Jewish, you might have been raised Catholic. Like Bill Maher has a Jewish mother and an Irish father. But that's another thing. If you're half Jewish, almost every celebrity that's half Jewish identifies with being Jewish. That's how dominant the Jewish identity is. That even if you're a quarter Jewish, like Harrison Ford, you still identify as Jewish. Now, I don't know if he does, but a lot of people who are 1/4 Jewish identify as Jewish even. And it's really weird. That's a sociological thing. It's not a physical thing. Like there's something compelling you. It is what it is, you know? But yes, if you're half Jewish or even a quarter Jewish, you identify, most people in Hollywood identify as Jewish. It's really crazy. And I think I know why they do identify as Jewish, because when you identify as Jewish, you can be an atheist. But if you identify as Catholic, you cannot be an atheist. So if you, let's say you had a Jewish mother and a Gentile father, well, you're not going to, if you identify as Catholic, it means that you've got to prove that you practice Catholicism, you know? So most people will just say, okay, I'd rather identify as Jewish because then I can be an atheist. And I think the vast majority of Jewish people are agnostic and atheistic anyways. The good majority of them are. Even in Israel, most of the, like Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't believe in the Talmud and the Torah. He's a secular leader all the way. He's as secular as they come. Yeah, there are the Mizrahi, there are the Ashkenazis, there's the Sephardic Jews, there's Ethiopian Jews, there's Iranian Jews, there's different sects of Jews, but the Ashkenazi ones are the ones that make up the majority and are the loudest people, are the Ashkenazi Jews. I think that most Jewish people outside the Ashkenazis are very quiet and don't make a lot of noise, but the Ashkenazi Jews are the loudest for sure, without a doubt. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting how these Jewish celebrities, these half Jewish celebrities, always identify as Jewish. Almost all of them do. And like I said, I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that they can easily jump ship and say, "Well, I don't believe in God, so I'm Jewish." You know, and that's another thing. Like people like Alan Dershowitz, who ardently support Israel, I don't think he's religious at all. I think he's completely unreligious. And what Superman actor is Jewish? Which one? Not Christopher Reeve was not Jewish. Chris or that guy Jim Reeves or whatever his name was. The first one that played him was his name's Reeves. Yep. Hello. Yeah, not believing in God justifies them if they still maintain their identity. I mean, like, who's that famous Jewish intellectual, Noam Chomsky? He still identifies as Jewish, and he's an atheist. I mean, there's a lot of these people. I mean, their identity is still tied up into the Ashkenazi race or the Khazarian people. No, but he looks like an Israeli. This is kind of weird because Thinking Ape has been accused of being anti-Semitic, but he said his nationality is Ukrainian. What did he say? It was Ukrainian and or something else. He said he was Hungarian or something. He is unattractive, guys. Extremely unattractive. What was that? I'm about to get out of here, guys. My arm is sore from work. I think I pulled something. Not feeling really good. I have a theory about a lot of this stuff, which I don't want to get into today. It'll segue into something else that I want to talk about right now. But I'm going to watch some videos, I guess. I'll get into my... I need to lay me down. I'm not feeling good today. Hope the shoulder feels better. Feels like I just fell on it or something. God, when you get older, guys, it's weird. When you're 22 and you fall on a shoulder or you stretch it or something, it's different. I just gotta be... Can't be doing this. They sure as hell don't look nor hydrate. I'm gonna have to do that. I don't know what the heck's going on with my... It was like I was lifting weights, only I wasn't lifting weights. I was lifting a compressor today. Some guy let go of it kind of hard. It's almost like I jolted it or something. Ooh. These things are so heavy. I don't know why the hell how something can be so heavy that could be so small. Yeah, I think it's in the shoulder area. It's in the shoulder area. I've had this happen before. It's nothing new, but it comes from doing from weightlifting. You can get it too, or you can just be lifting a compressor. Anyways, I got a 45. I lost some people in here. It's okay. Kind of a boring. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Or maybe I'll listen to you guys, who am I imitating? What's over? I got to put it in there. You got to contact me, though. Oh, yeah, I got to get out of here, guys. I think that there's some theories that I have about what's happening with the it's no longer critical. It's no longer politically incorrect to be critical of the Ashkenazis. And I have a theory that the elites are flipping the script again, like they always do. And first of all, like all these YouTube accounts, like Nima Al Rashid and people like Danny Haifong, and they're able to openly be critical of Israel and the United States. And something seems too good to be true. Like you'd think that these people would be censored, but they're not. And they got these huge subscriber rates. And I think it's all psychology. It's a psyop to maybe make you think there's hope for something when there's not. Like in other words, the agenda will continue regardless. Danny is okay, but I don't know what they're... That one guy that irritates the crap out of me is that hopelessly mixed mulatto guy from that Diary of a CEO. That guy's he's only 30 years old too. It's like, how do these guys come from being nothing to these like high-ranking people? Like, don't tell me that, oh, they're just so smart. There is no way these people are doing this by themselves. There is no way in hell that this is organically being done. Yeah, you know, Alex Jones is known to have people in his family in the CIA. Most of these alternative media people are just fakes. He says they all lie about their family. Andrew Tate's father worked for the CIA. I think a lot of these people do. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, guys, I got to get out of here now. It was an easy stream. It wasn't too bad. 10:15. I was able to get in about a little over an hour here. My shoulder's a little sore today, and I need to kind of get some rest on it. I don't know. It started giving me some problems. Not until later today, but no problem. Had a good time today, you guys. Probably be on here in a couple days, maybe tomorrow, and we'll see. Videos with high view counts don't have that many comments, like 100K views in only 100,000 views in 1,000. You're saying, in other words, you think it's a psyop, Nasrak? What are you saying that is? That, in other words, there's no way that one could be possible without the other? You know who's a real fraud, and I'm really disgusted with him, is Judge Napolitano. I'm Judge Napolitano. I'm an Italian American. I'm a lawyer and I'm a judge, and I'm the youngest district judge from ever in the city of Dade of New Jersey. And I used to be a pro one world government stooge on Fox News, and all of a sudden I got my own channel now. I'm flipping the script again, and people will never call me out on my bullshit. I haven't heard Tim in forever. No, I haven't alone, but I might look them up. I'm out of here, guys. I'm going to end this stream. I'm booting you all out of here. You guys have a great day. The stream will be up shortly.